Welcome to Urban Exegesis Studios. I'm your host, Dr. Derrick Colon, and I'm excited to have you here. This is the place where hip-hop culture meets faith, history, and community. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. To stay connected and to unlock exclusive content, please join channel membership. You can also find us across social media. On Facebook at Urban Exegesis, on Instagram at Urban Exegesis Studios, and on TikTok at Urban Exegesis Studios. Thank you for tuning in. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Urban Exegesis Studios. I am your host, Dr. Derrick Colon, and today we have a very, very special guest in the building, DJ Joey O. And welcome, brother. Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
Let's get to our first question. Here we go. What was first of all, let's talk a little bit about how we connected. So, I had told my story, and then I saw you on Crespo's interview where,
The Bronx Museum?
Yeah, the Bronx Museum. And he was letting you tell your story, and we got to a certain part where you started to talk about 28 Schoolyard, and there's history there for me. And so I said, let me connect with this brother. And as we started just conversating, you really were able to solidify what I had been saying. Obviously, I know my story, but you were very instrumental in letting me know that, where I was, the area I was, one of many pivotal areas when it came to hip hop culture and the initial stages and all of that. But today, man, I just want you to tell your story. And I think what I want to do is get right to the first element that you got initially involved in. And remembering the interview with Crespo, you had mentioned that was graffiti. So take us through that story of you as a writer.
All right. Me as a writer, I'm a kid in Brook Avenue on 36th Street. They got the gangs and everything. I used to go to PS40 around Bronx Place and 136th Street. And I really wasn't into too much writing then. I seen it, but I was too young. And then when I moved to 139th Street, I still used to go back to 136th Street. That was my old block. And I used to hang out in the Millbrook Projects. There was a guy there named Saber Cool, like Saber the Sword. And I liked that. But I was a kid. He was a teenager, big dude. It was real cool. So I bit the name. I started writing Saver Cool. So that was my new graffiti name at 9 years old, 10. And I was neighborhood toy boy, no big trains, nothing like that. So I used to play a lot of salsa music. My father really played the salsa music. And when he left to work, we used to play bongo rock and Apache, Scorpio, those records, Temptations, Shy Lights, slow music and everything. So they used to come down to my house when they hear the music switch because they knew my father was gone. So my boy Anthony, he was a little older than me. He kept calling me the South Soul Kid. And I didn't understand that. I didn't even pay too much mind. The one day we chilling, I said, what is this South Soul thing? So he said, I call you South Soul because your father plays salsa, you play soul, so I call you the South Soul Kid. So I kind of go, I don't feel so bad about it anymore. I said, it's not a joke, it's actually sounds good, So when I left Brook Avenue, I moved to Creston, and 181st, I started writing the South Soul Kid. But it was a little long, And I seen guys that were writing shorter names, so I started writing the 707 Kid, which, I could run through that real quick. So that was my name for a while. Then after a while, when we started getting more into music, because I was doing music over there in 139th Street, across the street in PS40, there was a after school center. After school, there was a karate teacher. His name was Spider. I don't know if I'm correct, but I'm assuming it could be the Spider for the black space because he was a very disciplined black belt. And anybody respected him as a tall guy. And he was real cool with me. And he allowed me to bring my sister's record over and play the records in the gymnasium. He had one of the little portable turntables. So I was like the little DJ. So when we left Creston, I took those records that I had up to, when we left 139th Street, we moved to Creston, I started playing those records. And I seen the Burning and other gangs for the Black Space, Cyber Skulls, all that stuff, and the Ghetto Brothers. I seen the Burning, and my sisters are older than me, so I was exposed to all that stuff. So when I got to Creston, I started showing some of my guys, E-Rock, Double H, Steve, Lester, Santana, how to burn, and only Santana knew what burning was. But I seen him, I said, how you know that, And because he was gang affiliated in Caldwell Avenue and Eagle Avenue on 156 before he moved to Creston also. So anyway, we started doing that, burning and trying to break and stuff like that from other guys that we see in the clubs that were called Spanky and Rubber Band. Those were the guys that were doing it in the Contiki, the Fudge Factory, the Ruby Fruit, the Hippocampo, the Twilight Zone. And my sister had a boyfriend. The father of the kid is Jamel, Raffaele Rivera. He's a 5%er. They call him God Jamal Allah. And he was in the record pool, but he wasn't a good DJ. I was, as a kid. I was always good. He had equipment, so he used to let me use his equipment. So when we used to go to clubs, try to get me in. Some clubs he had pool, I could get in, and I was able to get on the mix. And I liked the beats. These were discos, but I used to put beats. Sometimes some people didn't like it. Some they did it. They would dance to the beats. It wasn't just hustle. So I kept going with them more. Then I started going to the record pools downtown, to South Soul, the record label. Now this is 73, 74, 75. Now I'm a little older. I'm 14, and I'm getting into these clubs with them. Then I start, playing more beats and stuff, and try to get equipment. Me and Santana used to go through the cars and take out the speakers, and make boxes, and try to play on top of the roof. Little DJ sets. It was really his turntable, my turntable. Started getting into it more, and wherever my brother-in-law went, they had equipment I was able to get on. And then in Bronx Community College, it was a truant school for truants. That's where I met El Dorado Rock, DJ El Dorado Rock. We got along from day one. He took me to his house, trying to impress me with the records. So as he's playing the records, I'm telling him who's on the label, what record, where it came from. I was in the record pool. So I'm telling him about beats and stuff like that. So that day, we sharing stuff. So about a week later, after going with him, I started bringing my beats over to his house. So I'm showing him Scorpio, Bongo Rock, and all this stuff. And So anyway, we started getting more and more into music. So finally, in 78, we take the equipment, about 78, 77, 78. We take the equipment and we put it out on 28 Schoolyard. I introduced him to his wife, Maria Rock. She used to live on my block. I introduced them, they got along, and he brought the equipment over, and we started doing the jams at 28 Schoolyard. Right? He did a lot of disco, I did a lot of the beats, but we did both, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I tell that story,
Mm-hmm.
and just for the sake of people who might not have heard the story, I tell the story of, right after the blackout, there was a lady who lived in my mom's house. Her name was Doris. Lived with her husband. His name was Bo, and she took me to 28 Schoolyard. I went to summer school there one time, but I knew the area. I'm from Echo Place, and so I every time I tell the story, I say, listen, this is the first time I see this is the first time I see this live, and this is the first time I see this live. But let me do something. Hold on one second, man, because I'm getting a message, and I don't like that I'm getting a message on my thing, man. How do I turn this off? Okay. Yeah. How do I turn this off? Hold on one second. We're recording, so it's all good. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I could edit this, but I just want to turn off this messaging thing. And okay, so let me go to and notifications, and let me turn off notifications. Okay. I turned it off. So, okay. So she takes me to this place, 28 Schoolyard. I see, I see a DJ. He's playing 2 records of Apache. And then I see an MC pick up the mic, and, he starts doing this thing that I always call the yes, yes, y'all. And I assumed these were 2 African-American brothers. Is what I assumed.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that was possibly you?
What I'm telling you is that find somebody who told you that they DJ in 78, 79, 80, 80, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82 in that schoolyard. You have to be Mastermind, South Soul, Rock the House, Midnight Lover, Natural High, Anthony Crew, Showwell Crew, No Stopping Crew, which is Seamus from your block, and Zulu, which is Sundance, Trouble, Daddius, and a bunch of others. I can't remember everybody's name. And the whole 240 crew from 175th and Topping and Monroe. Those people used to be in there religiously. It was about 6 or 7 different crews. Every jam I did there.
So it could have been any one of those guys, and that was a pivotal moment for me. So you're there, you start. Go ahead.
Yeah. 78, it was definitely nobody else. Definitely, Cass went. He went 78 once towards the end of the summer. It was the first jam. I know he wasn't there with the first jam. He was there like about the 7th jam that we did, because summer's short. Summer was like end of June, July, August, September. That's just September. You had to be out in the schoolyard. So I know that there's only like 8, 9, maybe 10 weekends in the summertime. So I know he came to maybe the August jam. You know what I mean? It wasn't the July or late June jam. And Mel was there. He was on the fence. He didn't actually rhyme or nothing. Just was there checking us out. He didn't say, "I'm ready, Mel. I'm gonna get in there." No, he was real cool, just standing there. He was working out. He had sweatpants on. Kaz was invited by Louis Lou, which Louis Lou hung out with the 12 o'clock crew also. He was DJ Eldorado's partner before me, but they were doing disco and I was doing the beats. But he was tight with Kaz. Kaz went to Creston Junior High School on 180th. Kaz lived on 181st in Creston. I lived on 180th in Creston, right down the block, same side of the street. We both went to Pier 79 and we both went to Roosevelt High School. And Jinx is probably the one that's doing the Jinx, the T-shirt king. He's probably the one that did that, what you showed me, the display. The guy with the hat on, that's probably Jinx, which is Elvin's wife's cousin. He's from Soundview. He's always been in Soundview, even though he was South Soul. He lived in Soundview. He always lived in Soundview.
Okay. So when we think of South Soul, the thing that comes to my mind is the South Soul dudes that were dancers. This is a different crew.
Yeah, those guys you're talking about, they didn't have no shirts. There wasn't a crew like in a schoolyard like we were. They were around 184 in Creston Field Place, and there was only one that had the that I seen that I know his name is Joe. Also light skinned chubby guy. Never seen him after 75 or 76. Never seen him again. I seen him 73, 74, 75, 76 was the last time I saw him. And we never hung out. I just know who he is. He seen me. We had these shirts that says "Dance your ass off to salsa." They were only through record pool. You had to be in the record pool. They weren't selling these shirts. Now you can go online and buy them. But in 73, 74, those shirts were not for sale. They were promotional stuff. I had shirts from Dance Theater Harlem. I had shirts from Midland Records, Atlantic Records, because I was in the record pool with my brother. I used to go get stuff with him. I used to go pick up records and T-shirt, promotional stuff, hats. So I used to keep it out of that stuff. So when I saw that stuff, that shirt Salso, I tried to get them all. There was one Dance Your Ass Off to Salso. I had a red one that says Beat Off to Salso, and then the green Christmas Salso, the Christmas one. Those three I had. So by the time I went to 78, by the time we moved to Mount Hope, I'm kind of jumping around, but when I left Creston, I moved to Mount Hope. That's what I met Elvin and in Bronx Community College. I took him to Mount Hope, and we started throwing on our shirts, the Salso crew shirts.
All right, let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me do this. Let me go back to some of the questions. You and I have kind of mutual acquaintances. Now, remember, right? I'm starting to see this around 8 years old, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And you brought up somebody's name named Seamus, who was always in my building. I knew Seamus personally. You know, he was older than me, obviously, but we all knew him. We knew Seamus. He was in 245 all the time. We talked about somebody named Money, who was always on the block, and he would have this unique whistle. Yeah, right?
Way older than me, too.
Yeah, he was an older dude.
I'm about 6 years older than you, right? You were born in 67?
67.
67. I was born in 61.
Yeah. So, you know, I say all that to say, you know, that area, Mount Hope, Echo Place, Echo Park, Webster, Valentine, Anthony, all of those, East Tremont,
Monroe,
all of that. I was seeing things on that block in that area at those early ages that, you know, when I tell certain people, especially when I tell these guys who, you know, weren't there, these dudes, you know, they always question this. Can you, now you're there, you're seeing this. Mm-hmm. Can you please validate the fact that what I'm saying is right and exact? Like I'm telling the truth about these people.
Listen, there's no way that you know Seamus, you know his habits, you know about the gangs that run that block, you know about Money. They used to sell the weed and whistle like a bird, and he's known. Anybody who's around, even Fordham, Webster University, they know Seamus. They know Money. All right, these guys were very known. They were scramblers. You know what I mean? And then I told you the Trouble was right around the corner, 178. Right? Trouble used to live right there, 178. And all these people knew each other. They all went to IS 147. I went to Crescent Junior High School. Those guys went to IS 147, which was on Webster Avenue in Claremont. Then they all, you know, we all met up in 28. We were all from the same neighborhood. So when you question me about those guys, yes, you are from that neighborhood. You even mentioned the building. Describe the building to me. I know your building well.
Yeah.
I never saw you. I never hung out with you. Mm-hmm. But you do know the people in the neighborhood. And if you weren't from there, you couldn't know this stuff. There's too much stuff.
You know, I was talking
that I see.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with MCTNT a while ago, and we were talking about you, and he said he wanted to connect me with you. So what I wanted you to take us back, when we talk about, some of these, the crews and these DJ crews that you're talking about, and you're DJing, in 28, you're DJing, the current narrative now is that, there was a few Puerto Rican crews there. What it seems like what you're telling me is that not only were there Puerto Rican DJ crews, there were Puerto Rican MCs that were part of the first generation of MCs.
Yes.
Take us through that. Who are these people?
My first MC is MC Mr. T, which is Eldorado's brother-in-law, Eldorado's wife's little brother. He used to live on Stebbins before they moved to Mount Hope. He was with Kid Creole and those guys. Before I knew about Kid Creole, he already knew about them. And he told me, oh, these guys do this and that. But I was more with Kaz, because Kaz is from my block. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I could pass by with Kaz's window, hear him rhyming, and he could pass by my window, see me DJing, So as for MCs, it's like he knew about Melly Mel, and then when we met in Mount Hope, I already had my experiences from Kaz and stuff like that, because my crew, Salsa, that's my favorite crew. But out of my crew, it would be the Mighty Force, which was Grandmaster Kaz, Whip, Dada Rock, and Paradise the Lady MC. That was my favorite crew. They broke up, and then they made the Cold Crush. But I liked that part of the crew. That was the first. That was I never got to see Mel and these guys. First guys I saw together, even though Mel and them probably started a little earlier, first guys I saw together with their routine was Kaz, Dada Rock, Whip, and Paradise the Lady MC. Okay. Right after that, T started from me. I was always DJing, but T could rhyme. And then T's sister's boyfriend, E-Rock, which he was Salso from Creston with me, he was rhyming also. It was the ET connection, those two guys. Then the Mastermind crew, which we always, Salso Mastermind crew is always together. We've gone everywhere together. Been locked up together, all kind of shit. Anyway, I seen them in 78 early on, but towards the end of the summer, they came and they got on the mic, and I didn't know they could rhyme, and they had routines already about my two MCs. What were that? My MCs went to go get dusted, and they had Ralphie and Rick, MC Ralphie and MC Rick. I'll give you pictures of them. Mm-hmm. They climb over the fence and they get on the mic, and they had routines already, saying that my two MCs were already laid. They crossed the gate. Blah blah. I can't remember the whole rhyme. He just did it a while ago, but I can't remember the whole rhyme. Mm-hmm. So now we have two more MCs. And then all of a sudden, Webb's brother, which Webb is another DJ, Eddie Yett, which passed away, had a hemorrhage, he passed away, he started rhyming, and he could beatbox with the mouth, like boom, to the records clearly, So I was shocked, because I know them. I was playing handball and everything, but I know they were working out, practicing. So I was like, yeah, come on, you're from the neighborhood. So now we have Mr. T, E-Rock, MC Mr. T, MC Little E, MC Ralph, MC Rick, and Eddie Ed. Then all of a sudden, the following year, Willie Will starts rhyming, which is a mastermind also. And then keep forgetting about one more Salso, a little Ecuadorian guy. His name was Subby Sub. He used to DJ and MC from the beginning, right? Part of the equipment we used to bring out was partially his. Some of the records were his. We lived in the same building. MC Subby Sub, MC DJ Subby Sub. He could do them both. Not at the same time, but he could cut, and he was able to make some rhymes. He came from Stebbins also, where Tito lived, Melly Mel and everything, before it turned into Reverend James Polite. Yeah, that street, they came from there. And we all ended up in my home, 77, 78. And we just made the crew bigger. And then from there on, we found out the Anthony crew, right on your block, Echo and Anthony, right on the corner. These guys, the Anthony boys, they used to bring out the speakers. They wouldn't bring the equipment out, but they would bring out the speakers. And they started doing the little MC stuff too also. They got bowled in '79 once, and they brought it to the schoolyard. We had a battle. They took it out. They never came back again. I had a good reputation. I've been doing it for years, and I had pretty good equipment. It wasn't the Sasquatch, it wasn't the Herculon, but it was big enough for that schoolyard. You know, I never had no complaints. You could hear me from the Grand Concourse. You could hear us down on Webster. You could be on Webster coming up the hill. You could hear the South Soul, you know, the 28 school that's jamming. You're coming on Valentine to Echo Park, you could hear the schoolyard. You know.
Now, when we talk about, you know, these early the 70s, right? We're talking about the 70s, and you know, I've always talked. I had a conversation with Raheem. I had a conversation with some other people, and they were telling me, you know, MCing really begins. You know, you hear some say late 76, 77, some say 77, 78. So what you're telling me, from what I'm hearing, is that during the first generation of the element as of the MCs, again, I'm going to reiterate, there were numerous Puerto Rican DJs and MCs that were part of that just never got noticed. Is that what happened?
Yes. There were a lot. Listen, there were a lot of DJs, because a lot of DJs, there was a lot of disco DJs. And some of them converted and started playing beats. Some of them never liked the beats. Right? The same way there was some people, African American, they didn't even like you touching the records. Spinning them back and forward. Like, what the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Apologize. They didn't want, like, you know, what you doing? You know, you guys are crazy. You know what I mean? Because the older DJ, they would take the records, polish them, keep them in these green sleeves, and they used to call the records sides. Or I like that side. That side. It was a record. We call it side. The older DJs before me, 5, 10 years older than me. When I was a kid, that was their side. It was hard to touch their record. You have to get your own. They didn't like what we were doing.
Right.
Putting coins on the needle. No, man. That's why it was hard, because we were poor. You know, you try to get your equipment there, but the guys that had it didn't want you doing what they were doing, because they were so used to cleaning the records, blowing the records off, keeping the records polished. You know what I mean? Setting the needle nice and gently. You know, getting the records on beat. That was most of their thing. Getting records on beat. But that pulling back of records, making it spin back, and going to the beginning again, popular. No, they didn't want to. Even the other guys, they could be Flash. They go to people. They're like, no, man, what the heck you doing? Let
me ask you a question. So when we talk about, like, you know, what we consider the pioneers, definitely. We're talking about Melly Mel. We talk about Grandmaster Caz. I know Caz had also Disco Wiz was with him and Mighty Force at a certain point. These guys.
Wasn't the crew. That was his first crew.
Right. So these guys have gone on record. And this is what I'm saying. You know, I've been saying this. I've been saying, like, the more we dig, the more we find. And the more we dig, the more we find that, you know, there were Puerto Ricans that got on, that got names, but there was a whole slew. And this I saw with my own eyes, a whole slew that just never got on, that did it. Why do you think, Joey, that there are those who are, you know, like Caz, like Mel, like others, who are saying, nah, y'all weren't doing that. We were doing that, and then y'all came later doing that. Y'all weren't doing it. What, are they not telling the truth? What's the reason? What do you think?
Listen, they're not telling the truth. As far as MC, maybe the majority were African American, or maybe not even African American, just dark skin. All right, because I remember Tito, my MC, Mr. T. He's light skinned Puerto Rican. Let me show you a picture. And when he used to get on the mic, whenever we went somewhere, and there's a jam, if you were dark skinned, it was a little easier for you to get on, and you could have been whacked. Now, if you were light, they would, like, you know, like, not shun you, but, you know, you wasn't getting on that easy. But when this kid used to get on, they used to pass to the mic like this, and when that boy used to get on and start rapping, they'd be like, yo, get him in our crew. They used to try to snatch him away from me. That's how nice that kid was.
Wow.
Yeah, Tito was nice. Tito was real nice. And if you didn't see him, you probably think he's black. You know, you think he's African American, but he's not Puerto Rican. And he's like, there he goes right there. This is MC Mr. T.
Yeah.
That's MC Mr. T. That's Eldorado's brother-in-law, Eldorado's wife's brother. That's me with him. Let me see. Here's some other picture. He was really good.
And how soon, like, what years are these guys getting in? 77, 78?
But I'm sure because when we started doing the 78, he already had stuff, you know, he had rhymes already. And he had rhymes about my whole, all of us. Look at us three right there. Look how young he was. He was 13. He's 13. Alvin's 14 going on 15. 16 going on 17. That's me right there, DJing. Mr. T on the mic. DJ Eldorado Rock right there waiting to get on. And that's me. DJing there.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is the guy I told you about, Subby Sub. Oh man. Oh. This is Subby Sub. He used to like Busy Bee, so he called himself the Love Bug Subby Sub.
And he was an MC?
Yes, MC. He used to make his little rhymes and DJ. All right.
Now, did Kaz and Mel and all these, did they know of these people?
They seen them.
They seen them.
You know, like, look, it wouldn't be a thing today if we were jamming somewhere they're gonna go pay to go see us. They were doing their own thing, but they were there in that schoolyard, right? And Mel used to also go to 2000 where Valentine is in Burnside, that project. I see Mel there also, and I was a DJ. There was some DJs from 2000, and there was one B-boy. He used to go to Cresty Junior High School with me and Grandmaster Cass. His name was Arnold Prince. I think he was Jamaican. And he was a break boy. He used to be Arnold Prince. Right? And then there was a few. There was James, Jero. These were the guys that used to hang. They didn't rap or nothing like that. Trotman. Kaz used to hang out with my boy named Trotman. All right. Then there was Magic Fly, Little Magic Fly. He was Puerto Rican. Trotman, he looked Puerto Rican, but I don't know if he was. Louis Lou, that he went and did like 40 years because they did a stick up in the Burger King. And one of the guys, Sandy, he wasn't really a stick up kid. They took him with him. And he was supposed to just hold the shotgun. He trips and kills a cop's daughter. Yeah. And they called Louis Lou. He just came out. He got his family together. He was the one that brought Cass over to the right? And that was Eldorado's partner before me. And even Louis Lou had I don't know if Little Charlie Chase, and Eve and them, they used to DJ also, and that was on 196 and Briggs. Another crossover.
So I used to, when I went back to New York in the 80s, 83, 84, 85, I used to hang out on Valentine and Briggs in that area. So I knew
that was Louis Lou.
I knew Little Charlie Chase. He lived right on the corner, right around the corner. He was a ball buster.
Tell Louis Lou, tell Little Chase who's DJ Joey-O and who's DJ Eldorado. Right? He's gonna tell you who we are. We older than him.
Yeah. So I knew Little Charlie Chase well. He'd always hang out on the block. He was a ball buster. He was. So, but yeah, man. So just really wanted to expose people to, because I've always said that there are so many, times in this hip hop story, in the history that we get honorable mentions and we get a couple of people. It's always the same people. It's Charlie Chase, it's Whipper Whip, it's Ruby D. But there were so many more that
Whipper Whip used to go. If you talk to Whipper Whip, if you ever interview him, tell him about DJ El Dorado Rock. Tell him about DJ Joey O. Valley, Marion Avenue, when Elvin had his house and the equipment in the basement, Whipper Whip used to go out there and rhyme with us. All right? And he went to 28 Schoolyard and rhymed also. Whip was there.
Wow.
Whip could get on anytime. Cass didn't just show up, he could get on. There was no thing about he had to ask or nothing. He was down. There was no problem there.
That's what I find funny. It's like, when you say, when they say, nah, there was one or two, but then you got the same dude going to places where, and even though, bro, I get it. People weren't looking and say, oh, that's the Puerto Rican, but we weren't even talking about that. No. That wasn't something we talked about. It just wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah. And so
it was very little, if anybody was thinking like that, it wasn't no majority.
Right. Right.
And about this thing about don't hang out with blacks, don't hang out with Puerto Ricans. That was for both sides, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But this is what made hip hop special because none of us were listening to that. They heard it, but none of us were listening to that. We didn't let nothing get away, you know what I mean?
Right. Tell us now
what it was if we did.
Right.
If we listened to the oldest, we're not involved.
Now, did you play in Echo Park at all?
One time we went in there, but it's too dark. Only one time. We're around the Hamble Court area, too dark.
Yeah.
Cut that shit down short.
Okay.
The poles next to us had no light. We had to go almost from the street. So like a 200-foot cord, the power was weak because it's too long. The voltage was a big voltage drop in the equipment. It was like, nah, we got out of there. And then we had our crew. We lived right down the block, so they had their shit there. We knew people in 2000, you know what I mean? Those brothers in 2000, they got their shit together, you know what I mean? They ain't gonna let nothing
That's
happen.
what I mean.
But
there was a guy on my block.
We're trying to do this for the neighborhood, and that looked like a place where somebody gonna get shot or something. So it wasn't the right thing to do. There were kids. These people going there were kids. This is 16, 15, 14, you understand? I was 16, 17, 18, but the guys that were doing the breakdance were little kids, you know what I mean? Yeah. There was mothers there and all that stuff. It was too dark, It wasn't an ideal place,
So when did you start? When did you start DJing? From what year to what year?
I've been DJing since I was a kid. Since 11, 12 years old. I've always walked around with the beats. The beats, what I consider the beats, is like Scorpio, number one for me, Bongo Rock, Black Skin Blue Eyed Boy, Mexican, Creative Source, that type of music. I don't know, Expansion, Expansion was a little like 74, I think. But that stuff, I had disco. I had a lot of Gloria Gaynor, Donna Summers, OJ's, 10%, Double Exposure. I did both, but I always had beats. You know what I mean? I love the beats. I love my beats.
Yeah. Now you mentioned in Crespo's interview, and you mentioned it here a little bit. You talked about the clubs that Frank Rojas mentions in the documentary, The Latin Breakdown. Tell us about those clubs. Tell us about the rock dance, the rock dancers. Tell us about that.
All right, those clubs, the Burning, rock dance, that's just about the same thing. Burning was more in the gangs. I seen burning, that word burning, I burn you. That was like Ghetto Brothers, Black Space, Cyber Scale, stuff like that. That's why I seen that more. Those older guys. And this is where MC Boots on with the chains and everything, and they would jump up and go that to each other's face. I seen that. That was done in schoolyards. That was done in their clubs, in the Ghetto Brothers Club on Cypress Avenue. On 138 between Cypress and Bush, Cypress and San Anne's, right across from the church. next to the fire station. The bachelors had one building, the ghetto brothers had the other building. I used to hang out down there with them. And they used to do that. Yes, they listened to Santana, they listened to Marlo, you know, but those beats were there. And that's why I got my taste of the beats. And my sisters had those records at home. So like I told you, I used to go to PS40 in the after school center and play the records. He used to let me run the DJ, you know, the phonograph. You know, but when I went to Creston, that's when I started trying to put stuff together. And then my sister got together with my brother-in-law, which is Rafael Rivera. Anybody that knows him is God Jamal Allah, right? He would be 63, he would be 68, 69. Right? He's from where Smokatron and those guys are, Mercy Place, right? That's 169 over there. The next block over is Mercy Place. He's from there, right? He knows Smokatron guys and Smokey and those guys. He knows all of them. He's been around.
Talk to us about so there's been a recent conversation about some of the DJs, right? Talk to us about, you know, your experiences with not even being with them, but just knowing about them. Herc, Disco King Mario, Smokey, you know, what were you hearing about these guys?
All right. This is the deal. When I heard about Herc, I was in Creston Junior High School. I'm sure Cass was there, probably about the same age. I know Whip was. A couple of other guys were there. Louis Lou was in there. Trotman was in there. And I used to hear them all, Herc this, Herc that. And they would say the records that were playing. But I got the records home. You know, I got the records, you know. I didn't go to the street with them, but I got the records. So I knew where those records were coming from. Those records were coming from the clubs. He just brought them out to the street. I say that.
What clubs? What clubs?
Ruby Fruit, the Contiki, the Fudge Factory, the Twilight Zone, Hippocampo. There was one I keep forgetting. I never knew the name. It's on Westchester and Morrison. It's on Westchester, right off of Morrison, on the second floor. You used to go up these long stairs like that. There was a club there.
Wait. I spoke to Frank recently, and Frank just told me the same thing. He said, listen, you know, 72, 73, 74, when we were going to the Contiki, to the Fresh, to the Footsteps, these DJs, Grasso, Mancuso, Sayano, Al Davidson, they were playing these records already for rockers.
Yes, those records right there. If you look at the dates, that's 69, 70, 71, and a lot of them are 72. Record 72, Scorpio 70. I think Taurus came out after the 71. The Mexican 71. Those records, that era, this is not WBL. There wasn't a BLS, first of all. And WABC wasn't having it. Right? They were just, I love you, yeah. You know. And some people try to build the world a city love song, which I kind of like that. I like that record. You know, even the biggest one there was Casey and the Sunshine Band, right? ABC, the best shit there was Casey and the Sunshine Band, right? Shake Your Booty, Fly, Robin Fly, Silver Convention. But all this other stuff, when it came to Shaft in Africa, that wasn't an WABC. Sex Machine, Mexican, Babe Ruth, Creative Source, Temptation, none of that stuff was on the radio. That was all underground and home parties, basement parties. That's where underground clubs. That's where you can hear that stuff. And these older guys used to bring that to us. And I had all that sound in my house. So I started bringing it out to the street with the kids. But Kool Herc did it before me, you know.
So talk to us. You know, Frank told me a story. Let me get this out real quick. So Frank told me a story, and Frank told me a story that he used to. I believe it was the Fresh or the Footsteps. It was one of them clubs, and he told me that there was a guy named Cuddy who was a black spade martial artist who used to be a bouncer. He used to do that kind of work. and they would come to those clubs, and he would bring Disco King Mario with him. So Frank said, we knew Cuddy, but we were associated with Mario, but we really knew Cuddy. Cuddy knew all of us, the rock dancers, and they were coming to see. They were coming to see the DJs at these clubs, and so Frank says, look, Mario was exposed to what we were doing. He was exposed to that scene. What do you remember about Disco King Mario? Did you hear his name? What do you remember about him?
All right. From what I know about DJ Disco King Mario, yes, he was doing his thing early on when I was young. And Tex, all right? Happens to be Tex. I do electrical work. I do contracting. In 95, I'm doing work for Tex's wife, Debbie. And I meet Tex, but we're not talking about music. We're talking about the electrical work that I'm doing in this house. So all of a sudden, somehow we talk about music. And I tell him, I DJ. He said, yo, I'm Tex Hollywood. I said, because he told me Hollywood. I said, well, yeah, Hollywood, man. I know Hollywood. Hollywood, Gordito, dark skin. He said, no, I'm Tex Hollywood. So I said, oh, because I heard about him, but I never seen him. He's older. All right, Mario's older than me too. So I got to speak to him, and I got to elaborate with him. I don't know why he don't want to get involved in this. I guess because he could tell you a lot more how they started. But I know that he was a DJ, and he wasn't the Hollywood that I thought when I met him.
Yeah.
To me, there's a little rhyme that I got. I always say that. To me, the first MC was Hollywood. That's what I saw before even Cast, before Flash. Before Mel. All right?
What about
with my brother-in-law? I didn't even know what he was doing. All right. I remember saying, and it stood in my head, and I was like, "Oh shit, this guy been doing this shit." You know what I mean?
What about Smokey?
Huh?
What about Smokey?
Listen, with Smokey, I know for sure he did rock around Taft. Because I had a building on Grant Avenue right before Taft, right before 170. I was a super there like for 7 months, and the landlord was abandoning the building, so he allowed me to DJ out there. All I had to do was throw the garbage out. He wasn't hardly even paying me, but I had the girls coming from cutting school from Taft and coming to my basement to the hooky parties.
Okay.
And then the DJ equipment was two Gerards, and I had to throw the record down, use a headphone, a piece of headphone, and try to get the records on beat. And this is 76. I remember I just bought Do You Want to Get Funky With Me? T Connection. And Groove to Get Down. That's T Connection also. Boom, 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 boom. That came out of I'm sorry for what happened. I'd like to make it right. LA Bound. Yeah, I just bought those records, and then since my boy's father gave me the job, my boy had to store my records because he was mad that his father gave me the job. So I had the apartment. But he broke in and took my, robbed my shit.
All right, man. Listen, if there was something that you could leave us, some final words about what the Latinos brought to the culture of hip hop, not to rap music, to the culture of hip hop from its inception. What would you say?
Listen, this was there is no separation in Black and Puerto Rican, man. Whoever's talking this is young. These are young. The old guys that are my age and older, they need to straighten these kids out, man, because they're talking crazy. Talking about stuff when they weren't even there. They're talking he said, she said.
But you still got some of the older guys who are saying a different story, bro. They're saying, nah, it wasn't like that. We didn't get along.
Sometimes
what do you say to that?
Sometimes they're getting hit off to get channels up, and which is nonsense. You know what I mean? Because you can't separate us, man, for too many years, bro. If they're dancing in the Palladium and they're doing Boogaloo after the Palladium, before hip hop, How is it in 2024? You understand? It's not even making sense, man. The math is not there. Right? The math is not there. We've been together, and we're gonna stay together, in spite of these outside forces. And listen, by division, there's only one people that gain. It's not the blacks. It's not the Puerto Ricans. Because there's no difference. To be a Puerto Rican, you gotta be black.
Mm.
I've never seen a Puerto Rican that don't have no black. All right? All right?
Yeah.
So if they so many years now, you're gonna try to stick a wedge in between us? Nah, man.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. That's why I don't even get into it too much, because that's people that don't know. You know what I mean? Outside people, and if they know, they just got an agenda. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't worry about it too much. You know, there's too much history.
Yeah.
You know, you have to literally erase history. So now you're not a teacher. You're just an eraser.
Mm.
You know, you're not teaching nothing. You're just erasing. You know, and putting whatever you want. So that's not history. You know,
right?
And that's what was done to us, and you're going to do it to ourselves now.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, brother. Well, listen, bro. As always, brother, it's just been such a pleasure to get to know you as we reminisce about the old neighborhood. Obviously, I'm way younger than you, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for your time for this. And what I'm going to do is,
it's impossible you were not there. Right? It's totally impossible. You know too much of my neighborhood, our neighborhood. You know what I mean? For
say that again. Say that again. It's impossible. What?
Again, possible you were not there. You know too much about people in our neighborhoods. You know, when it comes to shame, is trouble, money, seeing me in the schoolyard. The turntable that you said, that was a black. You know where that table came from? You know the corner building on Tremont and Monroe, that triangle building? The white triangle building they renovated. While it was abandoned, we went in there and got that table. I had B210s, one of the best turntables, but I built them into the table. I built my amps into the table and the mixers. So we used to carry the whole table to my house and back to the schoolyard. That's what you saw, with the built-in lights and everything. This is something, listen to me right now. As time goes on and more people are going to tell you about 28, they're going to tell you, yeah, that was Joey O. Because El Dorado's light skin. Mostly me and him. We had Stevie Cool. Stevie Cool didn't do too much of the beats. Stevie Cool did a lot of the disco. We had DJ Def. DJ Def looks Taino. And DJ Def is big and strong. Right? Mostly us four. As they get on, who else got? Smitty Rock. Smitty Rock got on. Smitty Rock. Shame. Me and Smitty Rock, DJ right here. I live on Intervale and 163rd in front of Rainy Park. And me and Smitty Rock in 2007, we bought equipment out there and we DJ for the kids. Then after that, he passed away. He did a video. I'm trying to find the video. I saw a video, a music video box of him. Smitty Rock. He had Charlie Rock. Used to go to IS-147 also. With a bunch of these guys. With Rick, Mr. T, MC LeBron, I think he was from the Herculoids. All those guys went to IS-147 on Webster Avenue.
Talk to us about, real quick, before we go, talk to us about MCTNT. What's his history?
He never failed to be there in the schoolyard. He wasn't part of Salso, but he was in every gig, every jam there was, that kid was in there. He was 7, 8 years old, maybe 9, the late. He was a little chubby kid, and he used to tell us about rapping in Spanish. We'd be like, you know, we didn't phantom it, you know what I mean? But he never stopped. He did it. And then by the time 79, we were like, oh, you know, this kid is doing something. And he started getting together. Oh, man, I totally forgot about my MC Cartoon. He's the last one that came in. And he came out real vicious. He lives in Elmira, New York. He has 2 kids. They both rhyme. And MC Cartoon, his real name is Carlos Rios. He has a brother named Shorty Rock. him and TNT, those kids were doing Spanish rap. 78, 70, those kids were doing it. Right? They used to go to this guy's house. He had a mole on his nose, and that Wimpy used to let them get on. Right? Wimpy was on Monroe. Monroe Weeks at 175th. Right? And I know because I've seen them go up there. I've heard them in the window doing the Spanish rap thing. Spanglish, because it was English and Spanish at the same time. They were doing it. Cartoon does it today also. IMC.
Yeah. All right, brother. But listen, man.
It's done by law. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna get him soon, bro. Thank you, brother, for the interview. Let's obviously let's stay connected. And as soon as this is ready, I'm gonna shoot it your way.